YouTube? Dawson Ryder here. Welcome back to my Sentai 50th anniversary series where I go over my experience with said Sentai series. This time we're doing Carranger. This isn't going to be the most long video, I don't think. I mean, I'm just ad-libbing this, so who knows, I could go on for 20 minutes. But I don't have as much of an exciting story or a personal story with Carranger. That's really how you sell the video, Dawson. But with a lot of the other ones on this list, I've had kind of an interesting journey in how I watched them and rewatched them. And this one I did enjoy, but there wasn't really a period where I watched it and hated it and came back or anything like that. And it's not like an all-timer favorite, it's just kind of right there in the middle. It was the last one in the line where I was kind of binge watching Sentai. If you've been following this series, you know that I started with Ranger where I wanted to rewatch it, and then I was still riding the high of like just kind of enjoying watching Sentai, so I watched through O-Ranger, and then I watched Carranger before I took a break. So this is the last one kind of during that time period where I watched it via the DVDs. And I actually really wound up liking this series. Like, it's funny because I don't remember a ton about it in terms of like specific plot points or storylines. I remember a few, but compared to other Sentai, I don't remember as much. I just remember the fun and the vibes and the things that stood out to me. What's interesting about it is a more silly leaning Sentai, but different than most. You know, all Sentai are different, and all of them have a mix of tones of silly and fun, but also sometimes serious and more serialized. Can't necessarily always categorize every one, but I think, just to generalize, I think there's three types of Sentai. There's kind of the more serialized one that are more serious. I hate saying that because I hate the hardcore Sentai edgelords, but you know what I mean. Like Sentai series where they're more locked in on the plot in a lot of ways, like I would say King Odra maybe a little bit, stuff like Beast Morphers. Then you have the ones that are meant to be more silly and fun, your Zenkaigers, your Gozyugers, and then you have stuff kind of in the middle. And Carranger was interesting because it was aiming for silly, but not silly and light in the way something like Gozyuger or Zenkaiger does in a way, because it was more like a parody. In fact, I could buy this being kind of like a Ranger where it's a parody, where it wasn't necessarily just like, oh, we're just kind of more fun, zany characters with a quirky red, aka annoying, and like cartoony characters. It was like more so doing a parody of a Sentai. Like, my favorite thing about the series was one of the scenes where they're explaining the mythology of the powers, and I tried to explain this a couple times when I've done like ranking videos, but it's really hard to describe exactly what it feels like, but it's clear that they're kind of making fun of when they have really seriously laid out mythology, but it's over something silly, because you'll have that in Sentai. Sometimes you'll have something simple like magic or knights or something, but sometimes you'll have mythology that has something a little bit more silly, but they are taking it seriously when they're explaining it, and they do it in such a way that it's clear they're making fun of it, but the characters are also playing it straight. And that kind of defined the vibe of the series for me. So I really liked that about it. And it was a fairly easy series to watch. I remember it was one that I kind of binged randomly. Like, sometimes I would feel like only watching a couple, sometimes I'd watch like 5, sometimes maybe just one. So I was kind of able to watch it at my own leisure, but it was very easy and fun to get through because of that, because I thought it was a lot of fun. Like, it was very interesting that it was a parody, but it was taking itself seriously enough that it held the show together so it could still be taken seriously as a Sentai series, if that makes any sense. Like, I didn't feel like I was watching the scary movie of Ranger series, even though at times it could feel like that in certain aspects. Also, one of my bigger takeaways was how much I liked VRV Master. I really liked Phantom Ranger Fine. I always thought he was kind of cool, but I was never a big fan. But VRV Master I thought was just really cool and unique, and also had that weird quirkiness in there with his identity. Like, he was a very standout character for me in this series. Also, this wasn't necessarily a takeaway of only watching this, but something I realized around this time, I think between watching this and then there was one time I was rewatching the Turbo movie, like how underrated I think the suits are in this series. Like, I think the suits, they're not like top 10 for me, but I think they're very well-designed suits where they're clean, they're not too boring, the helmets are really stand out, and they just look really good, especially when you get them like in a good HD shot or something. And the mecha too, like I like the Rescue Megazord, I can't remember the Japanese names, I'm sorry, and I'm doing a Sentai video and I'm talking about Power Rangers, but suck it purists. Anyway, I like the Turbo Rescue Megazord. Like, the design of the mecha itself is okay for me, but I really do like that it's a triple changer. I think that's really cool. It would be really neat to get something like that again someday in the future where you have like vehicle, mini robot, Megazord. But I really in particular like the Turbo Megazord. It's got just a very classic Sentai Robo design, but not in the sense of like the, you know, no disrespect, but most the Jetman ones, Jetman backwards, are kind of like boring to me, like they kind of bleed together, but this has a very classic Sentai Robo feel while also standing out on its own. And I just think in general the designs and kind of ecosystem of a lot of the stuff they have here is very underrated. So yeah, like I said, this was going to be a short one because I don't have necessarily a huge revolutionary experience. I don't have major plot points I really wanted to talk about. It was just a very fun, interesting series. Not that it's going to be for everyone, but I think it's an interesting one and that it's kind of an anomaly, like I said, because it is a silly series, but it's meant to be a parody more so than it's just meant to be more wacky fun. So next time we will have Mega Ranger, which I do have a little bit more of an interesting relationship on. Then we're going to hit that weird gap and jump to Gal Ranger. But let me know what you guys think of Carranger in the comments as always. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps, ring that bell to get notifications for my videos. Dawson Rider, signing out. Future Dawson here, realizing that past me, and way past me because this video was recorded quite a while ago, you can tell by the background, spoiler alert, forgot to add the tier list portion of this video, as I don't think I mentioned at the beginning either, but I add the tier list ranking for this for the whole series, and I'm going to be compiling all of these. And for me, as you can see probably because it's already on screen, it's in the B tier. Overall, solid experience for me. Definitely doesn't lean towards being a poor experience, but isn't exactly like, you know, a fond favorite. I do have a bit of a soft spot for it, but it's just kind of all around in that solid B tier.